Hello and welcome to Verified Live. We start in Afghanistan, where a second 5.2 magnitude earthquake has been recorded in the last couple of hours. It comes as rescuers struggle to reach villages in remote mountainous areas following the devastating 6 magnitude quake that struck late on Sunday. The Taliban government now says more than 1,400 people have been killed, with at least 3,100 injured. Most of the deaths occurred in Kunar and Nangarhar provinces near the quake's epicentre, which lies 30 kilometres north of Jalalabad. The UN in Afghanistan has warned there's likely to be an exponential rise in casualty numbers. Many survivors spent the night in the open after they'd been pulled out of mud and stone homes built into steep valleys. Well, our South Asia correspondent Azadeh Mashiri is in Islamabad for us, and she told me more about this second quake.
We still don't know the full impact of this second earthquake. We do have colleagues in Kunar province where many of the casualties were reported for that initial earthquake, and they've said that they felt the jolts of it. We also have a local journalist who's told the BBC that he felt it in Jalalabad, where the main hospital is, where many casualties are being transported. What we do know is that this is a country that is still reeling from the impact of that earthquake in the middle of the night on Sunday. What aid groups are saying is that the country desperately needs more international support, and it's a complicated picture. When the Taliban came back to power in August 2021, many aid groups suspended their work. International aid was suspended in many cases as well, and sanctions that were in place since the 1990s, when the Taliban were initially in power, are still in place, though there are exemptions for humanitarian relief. What the United Kingdom has said is that they've pledged £1 million in emergency support, and that it's being directed to partners. Those include the International Red Cross and the UN Population Fund, and that those funds are being split evenly. Other countries have also pledged support. Those include Switzerland, China and India, which has already donated at least 1,000 tents. What aid groups are saying, it's still not enough given the magnitude of the challenge Afghanistan is facing and the series of crises it's already been trying to deal with.
Azadeh, we've been watching those various helicopter rescues, but in terms of the authorities getting to the worst hit areas on the ground, what sort of progress are they making?
Even before this earthquake, many of these areas were very difficult to reach. The roads are mostly mud, dirt roads, and they are in mountainous regions. And that's why the emergency response was so delayed to begin with. This happened in the middle of the night, and rescuers could not land helicopters without some daylight, without some light. And that's why even a day later, so much time has passed, and yet they're still worried that people are trapped under the rubble because they haven't been able to reach them. Now, they've expanded their search beyond Kunar province today, but they're warning that they still believe a lot of people are missing. As difficult as it is to reach those places, it's also very difficult to get information out. And that's why in previous cases where earthquakes have struck Afghanistan, because this is a country that is no stranger to earthquakes, casualty figures have differed as the days have gone by, but it's possible that we'll never truly know the full scale of this disaster.
Well, that was Azadeh Mashiri. Earlier I spoke to Tamindri De Silva, World Vision Afghanistan National Director, who is in Kabul.
It has made an already very hard situation worse. What we're learning is there are villages that are completely inaccessible. It's even bad. It's so bad that even helicopters are not able to land. And right now, I think there's been a situation where rescuers are having to prioritize locations based on access, and that means that several villages are just not being able to, that they're not being overlooked, and that means that there are going to be huge numbers of casualties wherever that is. So this earthquake has just made things worse, but it was already a very difficult situation in terms of access.
As I said, we spoke this time yesterday. Give me an idea of the sort of progress or otherwise you've been able to make in the last 24 hours.
So even though some of the landslides and rubble have been cleared, people have started walking. and that is the only way to access some of the villages. And even some of our staff that are walking, it's taking them 4 to 5 hours just to get to one village, and that is, individuals walking. So if you can imagine the scale of need, if you're looking at a village of say 20 or 30 homes or more, it's going to be impossible for people to be rescued, and we're closing in on the 48 hours. So we're going to see it is an impossible situation. Even if you had heavy machinery, you couldn't get it there. Even with helicopters, you cannot land. So it is a very sad situation that we're seeing on the ground.